about doing things right and about young people. She qualifies as a young person, and she qualifies as an energetic young person. We asked her for her profile. She says she got no profile, that we should just call her the Jagab of Africa. She's just an activist in Nigeria. Whether she qualifies for that position or not, we will get to find out.
Please give us a minute while we check the sound. Pastor Lou, we've lost Pastor's sound. Can you please check?
I'll get back now.
Thank you. So welcome. We are glad to have you here while we're waiting for Mr. President to get back in. So give us a few minutes to work on that sound.
You couldn't hear me properly.
No, now we can hear you. Your sound went off.
My sound went off. It was technology that took the sound off. All right, so Dabira Olaoluwa Adeyinka, the Asiwaju of the Activists of Africa. They can hear me now. Long time.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone in the room.
I hope all is well.
Yeah.
Your sound is not strong enough. Can you, I don't know what we're going to do.
Okay, so let me see. Okay, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone in the room.
Okay, can we hear her? Okay.
Yeah, if you can move your speaker
Barely.
a little bit closer to your mouth, that would be great.
Mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Closer to our mouth.
Okay. Okay, so good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone in this platform.
Okay, good evening, Dabira Olaoluwa. Good to see you, and God bless you. I've tried my best to introduce you, but I don't know if I introduced you well enough. All I know is that you're very passionate about Nigeria and that you were involved in all things going, and then you're a member of SDP, I think it was SDP. Maybe more about yourself and how you got involved in activism to this extent and to this degree.
Okay. Okay, so you did a very good job, sir. It's just the Jagaban part that I'm not too comfortable with. But that's fine.
Okay, I changed it to
my journey so far in activism, I am not a social media face person, but I participated in June 12th, the subsidy movement during Jonathan's era. I also participated in ENSAS as a frontliner. And after ENSAS, a few persons reached out to say, okay, you guys should be involved in politics. I mean, you can't sit on the fence and you can't keep fighting on the streets as people get killed recklessly. And so I had a bit of experience with politics. And it helped me to gather a lot of knowledge. I think there's still a lot of work to be done. And I think a lot of youth should also get involved. And ever since, we are still agitating, we are still in the talking phase where we are telling this state government that we look forward to things being done properly. And I think I like the topic of today, mandate of the people's mandate here. And I don't know if you can go on, but my name is Dabira Adeyinka. I'm also an entrepreneur. I do my own side also. And whenever the call to serve also comes, I am open to give my own best. Thank you.
Thank you, Olaoluwa. Thank you. You said you were involved in June 12th?
Yes.
Okay. Were you old enough to be involved in June 12th?
No, not the June 12th, the fuel subsidy movement during Jonathan's era, not June 12th.
Okay. You are the one that was burning all the shops?
No, I didn't vote. I just joined them. I only joined them to sit down in an environment park.
Okay. So what else did you do for June 12th?
I didn't do much. I didn't burn anything. It was just bring back fuel subsidy, bring back fuel subsidy, and all that. Probably out of ignorance, because we see today that the fuel subsidy removal is now accepted by all. So probably we were ignorant, and now we are wiser.
Okay, interesting. So did you say you're also involved in NSAS or something?
Yes, I was one of the frontliners. So during the NSAS and after the NSAS movement, I don't want to call it the name that I'd like to call it. And when we were said that we don't exist, and nothing of such happened, and the panel was already going on, a few of us took a both steps to come out and say, look, we exist, and we're not hoodlums, as it was said. And we went through the panel process and every other process that is connected to that movement. So I then joined politics. That was a part-time thing. Probably I needed to go and gather experience. Was I comfortable? Did I have a very good experience? Not really. Will I want to try it again? I don't think so. I just want to be in the grassroots.
Okay, so am I right? You were with SDP. Why did you join SDP? And exactly what role did you play in the politics frontline?
Oh, okay. I joined SDP. Prince Adewale Adebayo, that was the presidential candidate, reached out and he said, look, you guys are doing a good job. Oh, you are making your demands. You are approaching the government, but going on the street is a little bit dangerous and we can't afford to keep getting killed. Like, okay, come join politics. Come and make your voice count. And it will give you leverage to be able to also have a say in the political space, probably when a new government is elected and all. Mm-hmm. And I saw a lot, and I don't see anything. It is encouraging, though. It's good to join. Probably if we join, people of like minds, we can change some of the status quo of what politics actually looks like. But for me, it was a good experience. That was why I joined. And I left when I needed to leave.
Any regrets? And what you said it was a good experience. What did you see? What made the experience good?
Okay. I learned a lot of tricks. I also learned that all parties are the same because they're still the same leaders traveling from one party to another, probably doing recyclation and all that. But their what do you call it? Are their mandates the same? Yes. Their ideology, are they the same? Yes, they are the same. What's their motive? I think the motive of most politicians is to go into power with a team of people and probably have their own share of the cake if they can. It's a trading period, campaign period, politicking period. For a new governance, is a trading period. That was what I saw. All I saw was trading here, trading there. People were just trading. It wasn't about betting a country that works for all. It wasn't about betting a nation that works for all. So, well, probably I didn't try other part because I know I was invited to labor severally and I was a little bit reluctant. Not because I didn't like it, but because I don't just want to do so much anymore. But I have books to write about politics. They are just the same set of people that move from one party to another wherever they find that's what do you call it now? Personal recognition, or wherever their interest counts. Let me use that word. Wherever the interest is high. So it's all about personal interest. That's what I see. And I'm urging the Nigerian youth. Let's not join politics when it is 4 years about the election period. We need to learn a lot of things from it. I've been able to gather a lot of information. I've been able to see a lot of tricks going on there. And they saw me as, and they even advised me. They told me, look, you're not a politician. You are not a activist. You can't bring activism into politics. So when I saw that, I was creating a heat in the room. I had to leave.
So what do you mean? You need to explain a bit more to me, and for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, this issue of trading. What do you mean they were trading and all that? Okay,
so in that phase of time, there'll be a time that the ruling party or the populist party will reach out to I don't want to call them the smaller party because I heard it's an offense, but let me use that word. That is what I feel comfortable with now. They'll reach out to even the ESCOs of the party at different states and different levels to say, look, we want your polling unit officers. We want the list of your canvassers. They will wear your tag, but they will work for us. So party A will come to party B to buy their polling. So they sell that back door. They will sell and collect money. So when you go to the polling unit on the day of election, you will think you're seeing your party officials at the polling unit, but no, you're seeing the party A's officials wearing your own party tag. So my question is, who are we deceiving? The people. So, but if we quickly join and get the formal knowledge that we need to know, the more the merrier. It's a game of numbers. Politics is a game of numbers. That's one thing that I found out again. There are many of you speaking in one particular voice. Other people will learn. And I was with a very famous politician, somebody that was holding a brief before I took the brief from the person. And he told me, I said, I want to leave. In fact, I wanted to leave politics 3 months before the election. And I'm like, I'm uncomfortable here. I want to leave. And he said, no, don't leave. Season, this is season. You know, this is money season. And I'm wondering, it's not like I have money, but I'm wondering, money season. He said, look, a lot of politicians will reach out, they will offer money, and we will choose the biggest bidder, or we will collect the money from all and still work for the ISD. So in fact, some political party chairman will be in their own party, but they are working for party A. So the people will just flop about them, but the party chairman somewhere are working for party A and going for meeting, gathering people under the sun, under the rain, chanting names that we all know that is fraud. So for me, the political space today that we have in Nigeria is a fraud. It's a fraud on the people. That is I don't know, Pastor, if I've been able to cover, but there's a lot. There's a lot.
Do you feel free enough to open up and discuss, or should I just leave you and not push further on this particular subject? Because you are the first person that is really coming out very boldly and very confidently to say these things. There are things that people have suspected, people have insinuated, but nobody has actually been so categorical about it. Are you willing to dig?
Yeah, I'm very free. I feel bold to speak my mind, as long as whatever it is that I'm saying is true. And I know very well, and I have facts with me. So it's something that I can boldly talk about. And I wish to write about it. So that when we join
Please,
politics,
you must write about it. And sorry, you must write about it. And I look
yes,
forward to that book because okay, so
yes,
why
sir.
do you think people go into all this? Is it just to make money? Sorry, is it just to make money then, or what really is the issue? Why are people hoodwinking the masses and deceiving the people so much?
No, so I think primarily it's about the self-interest, the selfish interest, the money. The money is the code of winning in politics. It is who has the money. It doesn't have to do with whether the person is fine, whether the person is not fine, whether the person can even address the issues at hand. It is about who is offering the biggest bag. That's the issue. So the people are blindfolded, and because of their own selfish wants, like it will happen just once in 4 years. They rush for it. Their heart is neat on whatever they can get at that point in time. They don't mind slaying anybody that comes their way to get what they need to get. I mean, to get the money they need to get, for doing whatever it is they're doing. So when I left my party to support, mainly, I didn't support, I wasn't going to support PDP. I was going to support Banky W and Funke Akindele. They were my friends. They were people of like mind. That was why I supported them. So I refused to be paid to join. Or when I sat down at a conference table and I was asked, which one do you want? Do you want us to give you money for supporting us because you're going to go on here? Or do you want us to work together? If we are able to get the mandate, we will now have you in our team to work together. And I said, look, I am not here for the money. I want to see a Nigeria that works for all. So I feel bold to say it anywhere that, look, I didn't eat 1 naira from any politician. So it's mainly because of money. So I think there has to be a lot of reshuffling. All of us should go and flood the political parties. Most of the people that are the state chairmen of this party some of them can't even spell their name. And if your party will pass or fail, it lies in the hands of these people that are representing you at different states.
So how can we change the
hands of?
Go ahead, yeah.
So it lies in the hands of those political party chairmen at different states, going to the ward, going to the local government area, especially the party chairman and the ESCOs, the state ESCOs. Those are the people that will sabotage whatever it is they need to sabotage. And if they have come with a mindset of being impoverished, when they see money,
how
they will sell out.
How can we, the citizen?
Is Pastor there or?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay, how I think we can. How I think we can is for all of us to go and be. Is either we register, we have a new party registered that is called the Third Force, because all of them, I'm saying all in general, I happen to be part in the all party chairman forum. So I know what goes on. So all party chairman, PDP, APC, SDP, Labour, ABGA, blah, 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 we all belong to one forum. We meet, we talk, we sit and listen to what they say. And I only attended that meeting once. And I was the chairman for, I think, 8 months. And I said, look, this is not my thing. I'm not a beggar. I don't have to knock at any official personnel to get favor for probably a bag of rice, a bag of granite oil, give us money. We want to, come up with an idea and stuff like that. So what I think we can do is that we have a third force that is really a third force that has recruited the people that are willing to take back their mandate and reset Nigeria. or we flood those political parties. But flooding those political parties and taking over from them will be very, very difficult. I've also been called. I was told, oh, come and run as local government chairman under our party. Local government chairman election will happen, say, in a year's time or in less than 1 year. And they were already calling me, like, come and run. Let's put up something for you. Look, I don't want to run because I don't want to be run or ruled or controlled by Godfather. So I think, for me, the only solution is the third force.
So let me ask you a few questions.
Yes.
Do you think there is enough people who have enough gravitas and sincerity that can come together to do this third force? That's question number one. Number two, when you joined the SDP, did you think, and were there strategies in place that the SDP was going to apply to win these elections? Did they really want to win the elections, or were they just grandstanding again and hoping that along the line some people will negotiate here and there? So I want answers to those questions before we now start looking at the topic of the people's mandate and what you want to say about the people's mandate. So how do people get this third force together? And people have said a third force is almost impossible because it doesn't have structure, and it might be almost impossible to raise the money to establish the party in the required time. What are your thoughts?
Okay, my thought is, do we have enough people that can create a third force? Yes. I think riding on the platform of Labour Party is an example and a tester to really assure people that a movement building into a political agenda can happen. Then when we talk about the timing and the funds, I don't think it's majorly about the funds, because when you look at Labour Party, for instance, I'm using Labour Party because it was more like the thought for them. Whether they understand politics or not, everybody is an obedient person. It is a will. The people are already tired. The people have been pushed to the wall. They need something that is going to cushion the effect. That was why they moved in that direction. And it shows that it is possible for anything that is better than what we have, what we are served with. When you are being served the food that is poison, when you are being served food that is, and you know this food is poison, and you said before, will you want to? So some people,
I'm going to mute.
people would rather.
Dabira, please unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
Yes, I did already.
Okay, go ahead.
Like I said, we know that we are being offered a food that is poisoned. That is, I'm using that as an example of where we have found ourselves in Nigeria today. And we don't have a choice because we are hungry. We just need to eat. But if somebody presents something that is an alternative, even if it is water for survival, people will drink, than rather eat a food that is poisoned. I see the system that is governing Nigeria as a poisoned system. And it is something that is intentionally infused or melted upon us. For why, I don't know. So if we have a building from now to say 3 years' time, we can achieve it. It is about consistency. It is about determination. It didn't take up to a year for people to really gravitate towards, oh, Labour Party is the third force and Labour Party is the fourth force. It didn't take up to a year. It is about the fact that we are tired of these political shenanigans that are taking advantage of the people. that put them in office. So I don't know if I've answered that question. Is it possible? Yes, it is very possible. SDP, did they do anything, or was there a sincere intention that they really want to win the last election? It's two-sided. I think the presidential candidate, that is Prince Adeyinka, really wants to be a Nigerian president. And the party also wants to win an election, probably to break records or to change history. But there are also elements in those states that would trigger confusion to say, oh, I know this candidate is not ready to spend the money he needs to spend to become a president. So therefore, we will support him to his face, but we will support whoever is going to be funding us, because we need funds to run. We need funds to make things happen at the local level. So that was a challenge that I saw with SDP. The party chairman, yes, was okay. He wants to win an election. But at some point, there was a bridge, and the bridge was burnt. So I think the communication issue, and the implementation of how the campaign should go, and the focus area, and how a campaigning for election should be implemented. So those were the things that caused confusion. So it was neither here nor there. I didn't see the party as a party that is ready to take over from the ruling class. So that was what I was able to deal with everything.
Thank you very much. So the people's mandate. What is the people's mandate? How are we going to get the people's mandate? And what will the people's mandate do for the people of the nation?
Okay. The people's mandate is a decision that was taken democratically to elect a leader in power to oversee the affairs of the people he is going to govern over. And it comes with constitution as it applies to different countries. So in Nigeria, when you take on a mandate, or you are pursuing to take on a mandate, there's a constitution that guides the process. And it goes to the mandate will end up favoring whoever has the highest number of votes. It means the person is the most accepted by the masses or by the citizens of this country. But in our case in Nigeria, as it applies, it's different. Like I said before, it's not about the people's wish, but even though there will still be a narrative for whoever is wanting to run for that office to still approach the people. Now, what was the approach? The approach sometimes may be, oh, let me give you a bit of rights, just support me. So sometimes even with the people meet the quality of the kind of people we are handing over our mandate to. Now, also the people that implement this mandate, which is our own INEC officials, are they also qualified, or the set of people, or the kind of constitution that is covering or guiding the INEC officials? Is it strong enough that it protects the interests of the people and it goes through the due process? Those are other questions that probably we all will have to probably debate about or talk about, because if it was about the people's mandate and the result, we won't be where we have to be. That is a clear fact. It is left for us to either accept it or not. Now, when we meet the mandate, or probably we now have an imposed mandate. We now have an imposed leader that took over the mandate. A lot of things play out. A lot of things like this will be a formation of a cabal that it is meaningless what happens to citizens or the well-being of the people is governing over. And it's nonetheless, regardless, not going to put their interests forward. It's going to be about first, what was the purpose of wanting to be in power at all costs? I used to think that service to humanity is trained, like when you have to serve the people. But when you have to rule over the people, it's just trained. You can just wake up and do whatever you like. That is not a mandate. That is an imposed government. That's the way I see it. So do we have the man? Do we have the people we have mandated the responsibility of their affairs of our governance into their hands? No, we don't. Because if you have, before you take decisions that has to do with people's life and well-being, you consider the fact that what are the cushioning effects or what are the side effects? How will you take a stand on these people? And then there will be a plan on ground. You don't just come to the office and then you want to, even a small thought, even a gathering, a family gathering, family of 10 or 5, there's always a planning. Oh, if somebody is going to the university, there will be a cost down, okay, you have to spend less, you have to plan for this person to go for a program, then you are next and stuff like that. But when we don't have leaders that plan, if we fail to plan, we will plan to fail. So mandate is really not applicable to us in Nigeria. Because over the years, we've not seen the new people that hold the mandate, holding on to the mandate. How can we reclaim a stolen mandate? It is almost impossible to reclaim a stolen mandate. And when I hear people say, oh, we are in court and we are going to court, and I'm wondering, who are the people in court? Who are the justices? Who are the judges in court? They are not aliens. They are people that have had different relationships over time with the people that are in power. So why should we spoil a thing before we fix it? Now we've fought the name called the slogan called mandate, or shall I say a name? We fought it and want to fix it. Is it possible to fix the stolen mandate? I've not seen it in the history of Nigeria where a mandate, because we know that in the past most mandates were stolen and they will stay in court for years. Has it ever been reclaimed? No. So we should wake up to the reality of the fact that how can we now reclaim back our mandate? And that is where I come to the saying of, okay, let's have a church or a party we are going to be adopting. We can even adopt from those smaller parties that are not known. So we can't reclaim a mandate, but we can have back our mandate. It's just a space of 4 years. We will endure. But the movement will have to begin from now. We'll have to sensitize and educate the people. To say, look, you can see, I've listened to a lot of people say, oh, we did not bargain for this. This was not what we expected. And I see them wearing the brand of the, I don't want to speak on a name. And I'll ask them, how is it teaching you? How is your decision teaching? And they'll be like, we are in it together. So for us to reclaim back our mandate, it means we have to, it's another sacrifice. I don't know, miracle may happen, maybe in the east of Nigeria, because the judges or the justices that are overseeing, seeing to the case, or that are hearing the case, we want to do the right thing for the first time in the history of Nigeria by protecting their name more than their interest. To say, let's do the right thing for the first time in the history of Nigeria. And I look forward to that. I wake up every morning, I want to see a news saying, oh, there is a move for a reclaimed mandate.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Go ahead, yeah.
So in reclaiming our mandate, whether the cost will favor the people or favor the ruling class, they are rulers and they have their class, whether it will favor them. But I wonder when a judge is on a payroll in the past 30 years, of a particular person, and you are expecting that judge to give judgment not in favor of his paymaster. I don't know. How will it work? So we have to take back our mandate. I don't think Nigeria is ripe for revolution. But whether they are ripe for revolution or not, time will tell. And in revolution, it will not help because we don't have a stable system or a government that can manage crisis. We don't have it. So the best thing is for us to begin to work in process. So reclaiming back the mandate, which is another process of 4 years. There are a lot of parties that can accommodate us. All we need to do is occupy and restructure. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. So, is there any work that's going to be done behind the scenes and from now on to see if this third force thing can come to life? And then
Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah. Number two, the youth, those who are below 35, 40, what should they do? What role should they play at this time? First of all, they say that they are the largest in population, but secondly, they say they are not serious or they are not organized or they don't have the resources to put anything together. And then my third question is, if you were to give a brief comment on the last elections, what would you say? And you can avoid that question if you want. And if you were to then give a comment as to where you see Nigeria going at this point in time, and what do you think the government now is going to be able to do, you can also make a few mention of that. And I see people already putting up their hands. They want to ask you a few questions or make a few comments, but can you help me trash out these questions? And then I throw the floor open.
Any work to be done within the space of time. Like I said, we need a third force platform. And how do we create that third force platform? It is to begin to start what I call the grassroots sensitization. Because the real people that actually sell out their vote wrongfully are the grassroots people, because they are not even educated enough to understand the fact that the taking 1 acre of rice, they have to pay for it in the next 4 years. But when they have roles to play and they are responsible and they are given responsibility to be in charge of their own future, they will be able to deliver a credible election. When they come to them and say, come and vote for us, we'll give you 1 Ankara, that woman would literally say, okay, I am a member, I'm a stakeholder of this movement. So therefore, my future and the future of my children depends on this one, because we'll build it together. So it's an activity or an exercise that must start possibly immediately. It will also take the now government on the spot to know that a lot of people are preparing. This is the problem I think we also actually have. We don't prepare, we prepare late. And in late preparation, a lot of things will get disorganized. I overheard somebody telling me, one prominent person telling me, look, we're already preparing for 2027 election. But some of us are still dwelling over the fact that we lost an election, and we want to be distracted by them keeping us in court. Why don't we start building the numbers and creating a sensitization program? It is just in each state there are members of local government. There can be people that can break into numbers and begin to recruit. Now is the best time to recruit because there's a lot of crisis going on. People are really now facing the hardship. And whatever you are committed to, if you are committed to a marriage, even if there's no riches in that marriage, the fact that your partner you are committed with gives you attention and is always available for you when you need attention, not monetarily, it will be difficult for you to cheat on your partner. But you just jump into a relationship and you expect, that stranger to embrace you, not knowing your pedigree, not knowing where you're coming from, have not seen any impact you have made, at any point in time. It doesn't have to be monetarily, but there are a lot of rural impacts that we can make, that will give them that confidence to say, oh, this person got us in mind, even though we don't have the money. But we can begin to form a force. I've seen it happen in China. Their problem was not, it was even way more than the kind of problem we're facing in Nigeria today. But they were able to surpass those problems because at some point the people begin to realize that in their hands lies the power to become whatever it is they need to become. And we need to create that realization in the heart of the people. And the youth also has a huge role to play. Because look, we have more unemployed youth than the employed. So what can we do? Let us employ ourselves by rebuilding our future. This team of rulers, I call them rulers, I don't like to call them leaders. They will fade out soon. Give them 20 years, they can no longer perform. Probably they won't be here anymore. But we have better chances. A lot of us can still run for positions. Look at what happened with Labour Party. A lot of people that didn't expect that they were going to win won their election because the people were tired of the status quo. So we can leverage on that, take to cognizance everything that is happening around us and be a part of, should I call it a movement? Okay, let me call it a movement. A movement for a better Nigeria, a Nigeria that is working for all. So from your community, you can begin to make impact. You can begin to be a pointer to a particular problem, a road that has not been fixed but has been awarded. Let us be the whistleblower. Yeah, they will see that they are doing nothing. We'll have what we call the counter-campaign documentation. When they come to campaign that they fix this, we'll bring out the true picture of it because the people don't even know what is happening in their environment. So with the youth, we can actually employ ourselves for our future because if you live in a country that does not have a future plan for you, why don't you build a future plan for yourself and take back your mandate from the people that are stealing your mandate from you? Thank you. And the non-government, well, do I see this non-government doing anything serious? I will call what happened in the few weeks after the inauguration. I will call it there's a slang that I use, Dila Bazaar. Like the more you see, the more you look, the less you see. People are being arrested, people are being repositioned. All these are political badadash. That's what I call it. Before you implement removal of subsidies, if you actually truly want to make a change in Nigeria, why don't you think of what can we create as a circle, as a pilot, not giving people 8,000 naira. How many people will get that 8,000 naira? What is the formula for sharing this 8,000 naira? Is it going to be handed to the same set of people that were giving palliative during COVID and they were not able to share palliative to people until those palliatives were wasted? Are they the same set of people that will be giving 8,000 naira to share to people? And I asked on a particular group and I asked them, and how many of you can feed your family with 8,000 naira monthly? With the kind of money you are amassed from the people. So if this government is actually ready, it needs the technocrats, to be part of this board, regardless of what party they belong to. But if you actually want to rebuild a name for yourself as a sitting government, you need technocrats in your team. Create a diagram that works for the people. Let there be a communication between the government and the people. Prepare the mind of the people before you infuse poverty, before you inflate poverty on them. That is what I think this government should do. It first of all needs to go and plan, because I don't think we have a government that plans before coming into the office. It was all about, I must be. It wasn't about, I want to come and work for the people or serve the people. It's all about, to me, what I see, the government that I see is a government that is about itself. They are increasing the salary of the House of Reps, Senate, and all. What about the salaries of the civil servants? And those people that are not civil servants, that are the majority. That is my question. So I don't see anything working at the moment. And they keep telling you, oh, things will subside. Can you put a time frame to it? Should we wait for another 4 years for you to tell us things will subside? And we don't have a time frame to your plan? You know you're going to confront a particular set of cabal if you remove the subsidy. What are the checks that you have put in place to ensure that it doesn't have impact on the people? Those are my take on that.
Thank you very much. We're going to be taking a few questions from the floor at this point in time. Okay, so Afolabi Ajidaun, your hands are up. Can you just quickly ask your question or make your comment very quickly?
Yeah, good evening. My question is very simple. We're talking about a third force and we're talking about take your mandate back. What role can Labour do? And what are your thoughts on the current Labour union? Is it strong? Is it weak? With this increase in removal of subsidy, the hunger that's going on, and are you feeling that Labour are doing enough to put pressure on this current administration to hear the people's voice? Thank you.
Dabira, do you want to entertain that question or should I ask a few more? Okay, there are a few comments also from the chat room. Is she? What do you call
Dabira, are you still on the call?
I think she's frozen. And yeah, I think she's frozen. Her picture is frozen.
Okay, I'll try and reach out to her.
Mm.
While we are waiting for Dabira, can you please tell us about the form?
Yes, actually, I posted 2 links in the chat room. One is to the registration for the Citizens Responsibility Course 101. And Ms. Dabira actually really made a strong point about the importance of taking back our mandates, but we need to be informed. And so we believe that CRC 101 is really one of the fundamental things that we need to do as citizens to be informed on nation building so that we can really work collaboratively to take back this mandate. And then the second form we have in there, she also mentioned the palliative. How did the government arrive at this decision to distribute 8,000 naira to 12 million people? What is the criteria for selecting the 12 million people that will get this 8,000 naira? So we also have a form there that we're doing a survey that we would like to use to write a letter and express the concerns that we as Nigerians have to this administration on the 500 billion naira palliative. So the forms are there. I can repost them. I'll just repost them as I speak so that you will know which link is for which. So the first one I'm going to post is the Citizens Responsibility course that will be starting at the end of July. We have 5 modules in that, and it talks about, we'll learn about the Nigerian Constitution, our roles as citizens in the civil society space, and just basic information about Politics 101, and some of the issues that Ms. Dabira has raised. So the first form you have in there is for the Citizens Responsibility course. The second one that I'm going to be posting is on the survey. So please take a minute to complete those forms. So far, our aim is to have like 1,000 responses by the end of today. we have about over 250. So thank you to all of our ALG members that have already completed that. Share this with your network as well. So the form I just posted is the survey. The second form in the chat room is the survey on the palliatives. Thank you.
So is Dabira back? Olu, were you able to reach her?
She is back.
Okay, Dabira, are you back with us?
She's just joining with her audio now.
Okay.
Dabira, you can please unmute yourself. Thank you.
Dabira, are you there?
Yes, I think I lost my connection.
Okay. Somebody asked a question, Mr. Ajidan.
Okay.
Did you hear his question or should he repeat the question?
You should kindly repeat.
Okay. Falabi, are you still there? Well, I think he was asking, Kai, what was the question he asked? Olu, do you remember what question Falabi asked? Or do you okay?
It was about the strength of the labor organization
Party.
and their role if they can really influence or make a difference, especially with the current economic situation. So what role can they play in helping take back this mandate? That's what I understood his question to be.
Dabira, did you get that?
Yes, I do.
Can you respond to that?
Yes, I can. I will try my best. I think a lot of people have lost confidence in labor and labor union, to say, because why should they wait for them to be reached out to before they take a step? Because a lot of us are waiting on them to say, okay, the labor people are the people that should lead the front line, and we will follow to say, you can't just wake up as a government to impose, decisions on Nigerians. But I think they are also compromised to a large extent. That's what I think. A lot of things has happened. This is the only government I am seeing increasing fuel pump price, and nobody is standing up, nobody is speaking. So two things may be happening. Is that they are not speaking because they have been influenced? That they are not speaking because they are afraid? But are the people actually waiting? Yes, people are counting on them. The only people that can help us get back things on track, I think, is the labor union. So their role, they have a lot of role to play. And I know a lot of civil society groups too are waiting to hear from them to say, what's the plan? We can't wait to see a liter of oil get to 1,000 naira before we start, reacting. We don't have to wait for, angry and hungry Nigerians to start burning and stealing and robbing people body light before we start taking decision, So I think they have a huge role to play, and a lot of civil society groups are counting and waiting on them. I'm aware of that. I don't know if that answered the question.
Okay, I think partly. Mr. Ahedo Kede Stephen, your question, please.
Oh, good evening, everyone.
Please go straight to the question.
My question is, hello? Hello?
We can
Go
hear
ahead,
you.
go ahead.
Oh, my question is not for Dabira himself, because he's one of my comrades. My question wants to go directly to the convener, Pastor Itua himself. As a veteran and someone that has a big pedigree in this country, at this junction of conviction in our land, I expected, with the powerful influence Pastor Itua has, should have said something to these shenanigans of what we are passing through as present. Secondly, my late principal Yinka Odumake. I could remember 2011 when an organization called JAF sat down together in conjunction with the civil society in respect of fuel subsidy. We debated a lot of things, which we have started at the background now. And late Yinka Odumake uses his influence and connection to talk to Pastor Tunde Bakare. And the rest is history. As for now, Dabira might not even have that kind of logistics and power to put things in place, but he has the boldness and strength to face any challenges and difficulties. My direct question is for Pastor Itua. What is your stand on national issue? It's not about going to Arise TV and talk. With the strong influence and follower you have. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
With the strong influence and follower you have, the last time I met you was at Yinka Odumake's house when I ushered you in for the condolence visit. And the comrades surrounded you, and you spoke a word of courage and strength to us. I expected you at this junction now to relax with we, the civil society. You might not even come outside. You might not even show. With your support, courage, and logistics, things will happen in this country. Because people man say this is a big topic. You can't come and steal my heart desire, my strength, my hope, my joy from me, and you expected me to stay behind and be smiling. There's no election in 2023. I can declare Ashiwaju in the middle of the night, and and everybody, all the whole country was as if we are in the cemetery. What we just needed from you now, thank God I've been privileged to be on this platform. It's a big privilege for me. I'm going back to go and talk to the civil society. And I need, afterward, a support from you via Dabira. That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And I will respond to you. What I have been doing over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years is really understanding this political space, understanding the Nigerian people, understanding the way we function, and understanding what is right and what is wrong. And I've engaged a lot of people, and this platform is also one of the things I'm using to understand what is going on so that we know what to do. For example, we've spoken to Dabira today now. I see where her heart is, I understand what she's doing. I have a rough idea what her potential and what her capacity is, and if possible, how we can work together in the future. You know, and that's why one of the questions I asked Dabira was, did you think SDP will win election, or were they serious enough to win that election, and so on and so forth? And she answered me one way or the other. And I'm thinking to myself, why is SDP putting itself forward? Why is this other party, ADC, putting itself forward? Why is this and that putting themselves forward? She's partly answered the question. A lot of it is trading and a total waste of time. So before last election, what I worked hard on with the likes of Patitomi and a few other people, Peter Obi wasn't even in the scene then, is how can we get all these parties together to work together to have something serious and important. You know what I discovered? Nobody was willing to stand down for the other. Everybody was being unreasonable. Everybody was grandstanding. Everybody was fighting. Everybody was being arrogant. Everybody was thinking that they could win election. And I knew they couldn't win election fighting alone in their own individual silos. We even had a meeting where we said, you step down for the other, you step down for the other. They didn't have no shish in their pocket. They said, no, they're not going to step down. They're going to win. They're going to win. How are you going to win? So the problem with Nigeria is not just the leadership. is also the followership and the individual selfishness of the average Nigerian. Extremely selfish, extremely greedy, extremely self-serving. So one of the things Dabira has said today is that you have to change the mindset. You have to reorientate the Nigerian. The other thing she didn't mention that I was going to also ask her about is, it's all right, numbers count, okay? Well, we know that in these last elections, numbers probably didn't count, that there was all sorts of other methods used to ensure that, first of all, maybe those numbers were not even accurately counted. How can you have 3 elections on the same day? Presidential, you say you cannot load up beavers. What happened? Who were the people who made sure they couldn't load up that beavers? Some people must have negotiated something to make it impossible. Dabira needs to tell me, what is your answer to that? If everybody, all the youth come out, 90 million of them, and vote somewhere, and they all vote, and we all see them voting, then during the process of counting or loading up, the whole thing collapses, and some people are writing results somewhere. Even so, glaringly in this country, at a time when they were announcing election results, 2 states had exactly the same results. 2 states had exactly the same results. Who does that? Where does that, is that kind of thing happen? But some people sat down and wrote those results, and they were paid for writing those results, if I dare say. So what do you do about that? Okay, the thing is hydra-headed. And if we don't do a total overhaul, we can go around shouting all that we want. We will just be begging the question. We must really hit to the grassroots and be prepared to do it. And it's a work of sacrifice. And I'm trying to find, and one of the questions I asked Dabira also was, are these people available, sincere, serious, committed people? I don't find them. They're very, very few. And those who are few are thinking to themselves, why do I waste my energy and my time? What am I going to benefit? A friend of mine is a politician. He ran around, was giving his people road, paying school fees, paying this, paying that. He lost his party primary, not even the main election. He lost the party primary because he wasn't sharing money with some people, KBSCs and all sorts of leaders of the party. He was busy doing palliative for the people. He lost his primary because he wasn't sharing money. Where are we going to start from? And he wasn't sharing money because he didn't have the money to share. So it's all money politics, you know. So the problem is very fundamental, Mr. Kehinde Agedo, very, very fundamental. And unless we find a few sets of committed people who are going to work hard to change mindsets, to change orientation, to change politics, to change attitude, to change expectation, not just of the leader, but of the average Nigerian, you'll be surprised what happened. Some people who were shouting SDP are now working for APC. Some people who were shouting even Labour are now working for APC. So what was all that about in the first place? It means that they were not even serious. It means that they didn't even believe in the SDP, or they believe in the Labour, or they believe in the AGC. It means that it was all shenanigans, and all they were doing was grandstanding. So where do you start from? Where? It's a big problem in Nigeria. And if we don't reorientate the average Nigerian and really work hard, like Dabira is saying, from the grassroots, you are going to be getting these same results. That people who have money and they have influence and they have some power, they just keep running roughshod over the other people. So it's not a sprint, my friend. It's a long, long run that people have to work very hard at if we're going to change Nigeria, except if the Lord Almighty himself decides just to have mercy on this country. It's as simple as that. If Peter Obi hadn't come out, for example, there would have been a no-brainer. There would have been only 2 people to choose from. You understand? And Peter Obi didn't come out under strategy. He came out under desperation. He just jumped out and took a chance. And upon all that, you still found that there was a resistance of the usual political class, and they fought it back with the usual methods that they used. And the people agreed. You people agreed, you accepted it. You accepted it that we should continue to do the business as usual. Otherwise, things would have not been the way they went. Beavers were changed overnight, election results were changed here and there, accusations here, accusations there, blah, 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 and everybody kept quiet. And this is what it is. So we're actually getting what we want as a people. That's the truth. Or what a few people who have the influence and the energy want is what we are getting. So until you change the thinking of the average Nigerian, you know, there's some Nigerians now that don't even know what is good or what is bad, what is ethical, what is right, what is wrong, because they never grew up in a Nigeria where there were ethics. Most Nigerians born after 1999 didn't grow up in a Nigeria where there were ethics. Some even born in the 80s didn't grow up in a Nigeria where there were ethics. They think that to pass WAEC, you have to go to magic school or bribe the teacher or bribe this. They think that to get a job, if you don't know somebody somewhere, you can never get a job. They don't even know what equity or fairness is. They think that all you have to do is to struggle and run around and be a sycophant and all that. That's the only experience of culture that they know. So when you start telling them that work hard, play fair, apply for a job, I sit on my desk every day. I get over 10 to 20 people approaching me. Do you know this? Do you know that? Can you give me a note here? Can you? Nobody thinks that I can just apply and I'll be taken on merit. There's no thought of merit in this country at this point in time. Nobody thinks about merit. How do you start with the people like that, telling them that you can have elections by merit when they know that even getting a simple job anywhere, including in private enterprise, is on merit? They don't think so. So we have a lot of work to do, and you people have to be serious, especially the so-called activists and the youth. You have to be really, really serious and say you really, really want to take this country back. You have to be serious. It's not just talk. It's not just conversation. It's ready to do the work and get the work done and be bold enough to keep doing the work and keep at it until it is done. So we have a long work to do. So you all must be ready. That's why I asked her that question. Do you know anybody? And I ask most people that question. Do you know anybody? Can you find them? You'll find that very, very few people. When push comes to shove, very few. And that's what it is. So I'm going to ask Bayo to ask his question, and also Helen. And then I don't know if Sonny is on the call. He may have some comments. Jumoke also may have some comments. And then we can begin to wind down and take a few other questions. Thank you, Dabira. Bayo, please ask your question.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Florence, sir.
Florence.
Yes, sir. Actually, mine is really not a comment. It's I mean, it's not a question. It's more of a comment. However, you mentioned most of the things I have in mind to say, which is the fact that we have a political culture that where money and power is everything. Money and power is everything. You know, what money cannot do, more money will do. And what more money cannot do, political power will do. And that's the belief of our political class. And, with this kind of system, it's almost impossible, to take power from them. And that's why we must really appreciate what has happened, in pre-election. Because, if you say it, politics is really dynamic. And Peter Obi himself probably would not have believed that he would get the kind of support he got. And that's because he was able to engage with the youth. He was able to come on the street and say the things that the youth wanted to hear or wants to hear, which is the fact that people are poor. There is multidimensional poverty in the nation. And there's no how we put it. As long as people are poor and hungry, they can be bought easily. You must also put that into consideration. As long as people are poor, they don't have food to eat, they can be bought over easily. It's just what it requires for you to promise them a job, no matter how low the salary is, or promise them something little, and they are willing to jump on it. Secondly, you mentioned the issue of leadership, sir. Most youths we have exuberance, we have energy, but we don't have leadership. And that's why I keep clamoring that the people like you, sir, must be able to come out, just like, Peter Obi has done, engage with the youth, not just on the platform like this, but on the streets, and even using social media as a means. Let's call people like you that have like minds. Let them address the youth. Let them talk to the youth. Let them galvanize the youth and ensure that the division that is being created by the political class amongst the youth, where they are asking some particular set of people to think, to Yoruba Ronu, asking them to follow a particular line of or pattern without thinking for themselves. And we all know that the Yoruba race is quite heterogeneous in nature. We think for ourselves, we are independent thinkers, but somehow that is being taken away from us also. We must also not allow things to go like this. We must, make effort to change the culture. So many youths came out and said, regardless of the money, when they give shishi, we know they give shishi. That was the slogan at that time. And it is quite commendable. All over the place, we are saying, regardless of who is paying us or not, we are coming out. And I think this is really commendable for the youth. We can't put everything all on the youth. We must appreciate, the youth that has stood their ground to say, no, we are not taking money from these people, not anymore. We want our future secured. We want our lives better. And we must appreciate it. We must really, really appreciate it. Come on the streets, sir. Go on, engage people on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and come on the streets, just like Peter Obi has done, and ensure that this culture where people are saying we are not taking shishi must be sustained. And lastly, sir, we must also ensure the culture of appreciation of labor. There must be dignity in labor. At a particular point, some politicians were saying they will labor in vain. I don't want to mention names. Yes, addressing people and saying don't mind them, they will labor in vain. No, it can't be. We must ensure that there's dignity of labor, and every labor, no matter how it looks, must be rewarded and must be rewarded very well. I'm in the UK today and I'm seeing the system that works. You just have to finish secondary school and you are able to feed yourself, to fend yourselves. People here, 20 years, they are convenient, they have houses, they have cars of their own. They can't be bought over. They can't be bought over easily. We must also put that into consideration that the economy is a structure, while the political economy is the political class, politics is a superstructure. And this go hand in hand. As long as the economy is hijacked by this ruling class, they will continue to buy people, they continue to manipulate them, and they continue to use them and dump them. Therefore, we must engage people, form a coalition of people who can employ youth, who can give them jobs based on merits, just like you have mentioned, sir. People who can engage the youth and say, regardless of what you are doing, continue to work hard at the end of the day to pay off. That's my comment. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Dabira, do you have any comments or any response to that?
Yes, I wanted to respond to a few things you said before the last speaker.
Yeah, go ahead.
The problem is actually from the main problem of why elections fail. Youths, I'm not saying this to run down the youths. That transaction takes place between the collation officer and the secretariat where the results will be delivered to. I said I saw a lot in that space. And I probably dabbled into other parties because I needed to see more. I was in a meeting where youth corpers that were supposed to be returning officer and collation officer and what have you, were invited by a politician that is running for an office. And that invitation was about the negotiation of how much they would take to ensure that this result works in his favor. So if we have the collective number of our Nigerian youths that are always being used as a tool on the day of election as the returning officer, or the collation officers. If we have them well, smell their future, knowing fully well that when they finish, I listened to majority of them and they were like, Excellency, or God, what do you have for do this? I will add it to my, what do you call? And they said, no, how much are you giving us? Because we just attended the meeting at a place I don't want to mention yesterday night. And they told us categorically how many thousands of dollars they will give to us. So you have to tell us what you are giving us. At that point, I lost hope in Nigeria. These were the coppers that were going to. So when we say, oh, beavers were off, some parts were turned off, these were the people that were used. If they wanted to make it work and they want to agree to make it work, it would have worked. I was an observer. I observed, I created a team in Lagos State from a few NSAS youths that we came together and we took on observer job on the day of election, the one for presidential and the one for governorship election. The one that baffled me the most was the governorship election. I woke up at 6 a.m. and I got to polling booths. And at 6 a.m., the boxes were already filled with ballot papers, already voted ballot papers at 6 a.m. And I was biking on and I was traveling around that community, that local government, for more than 2 hours. Before 7, I called some friends. I said, this election has already, the result is already written. Don't worry. Let's just all go home. And I had people that were giving me reports from different local governments in Lagos and said, when they got to polling booths at 6 a.m., 7:30, there were no people voting, but there were ballot papers in the boxes. And these were youth corpers that were our own Nigerian youths. You were not subjected to do this because a gun was pointed at your head. You did it for the physical, for the immediate money you will collect at that time. How can we begin to galvanize these people? Because they will still use them in the coming election. And not the same set of people, the next set of people that will come. So we need the youth on the side of the people. But we need leaders that will be willing to put commitments into it, to sustain it for the next 4 years and help us regain back or retrieve back our stolen mandates. It is not about the beaver was off. These guys were off the beavers themselves. You can't touch it. You can't help them. They will tell you, no, you can't come close. No, you can't help us. Oh, the battery is low. It was all made up because they don't want to be beaten. So they find a means to deliver whatever they promised they were going to deliver at their own polling units. We sold it by ourselves. We gave it to them by ourselves. One thing there's a secret I think everybody needs to know about politicians, especially the ones that are desperate to be in power. They will beg even their dogs. If a dog needs to vote, they will be humble enough to beg their dog to do anything for their dogs at that moment. So if we insist and we resist, they won't have a choice than to hands down. We saw that in the governorship election. We saw the things that played. We saw the powers that played out. If our youths that were at the polling unit that were representing the Nigerian youth corpers would not agree to those terms, there would have been a justifiable election that counts for the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dabira. And that's very interesting and useful information. So one thing Dabira has now pointed out is the collaboration of the youth with the politicians to affect the outcomes of these same elections. So you can see that the problems are really hydra-headed. And unless everybody is orientated, so these youth corpers or whoever they are They have sold their consciences, they have sold the vote, they've gotten people into power, and then they will complain tomorrow that they don't have jobs. After NYSC, they will complain that their aburos are not able to complete school because of strike of lecturer and this and that. They will complain that there's not enough fuel in Nigeria, blah, blah, blah. After they themselves have taken some money to manipulate election votes. So where are we going? Where are we coming from? And they don't realize, they don't see the correlation between what they did on polling day and the economy and the lack of food and the foreign exchange rates 6 months down the line. And they will come and complain and come to Pastor Itwa and say, help us to find job after you didn't allow a proper voting process to go through. So everybody in Nigeria is culpable. And even some of us, like me too, who when you should speak, you too, you keep quiet because of one fear or one anxiety or the other, and so on and so forth. We're all culpable. And therefore, those who are a bit more aggressive, those who are a bit more bold, those who are a bit more physical or a bit more daring or have a bit more money, always carry the day. Let me look at Helen's question, Faye or Taji's question, Oyomi, and then we will close. And Dabira, you must come and see me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Pastor Itwa. My name is Helen Essien, and I am very passionate about everything that concerns Nigeria. But unfortunately, passion is not enough. Numbers are not even enough. I'm going to quote a portion in the Bible very quickly from First Chronicles 12:32, and it says, "And the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do, the heads of them were 200, only 200 of them, and all their brethren were at their commandments." So the issue is, it's not about our passion. A lot of us are passionate about Nigeria, but do we have the strategy? I hear us talking about taking back our mandates. And I remember a song that says, now that we found love, what are we going to do with it? When we find the mandate, what are we going to do with it? Do we have a strategy? No, we keep doing the same thing year in, year out and expecting a different result. Right now, as we speak, as all those tribunals are there doing whatever they're doing, oh, by the way, I'm a lawyer, but I'm sorry, I don't really believe in what is going to come out from the law courts. So while they're busy doing their stuff and all that, and we think that they're in court, they have all re-strategized. The ones who were in parties that didn't win will make sure they get into APC because that's the winning party. They are strategizing, and we are still lamenting instead of regrouping and seeing how we can do it differently for 2025. They're already regrouping. We're still here. Then when it gets to maybe 2024 or a few months into 2025, we start thinking, what do we do? And then they come up with their own candidates because we haven't done anything. We haven't joined any political party. We don't have any strategy. So they're the ones who give us the candidates. So heads or tail, it's still their man who comes in. Now the question is, what is the problem with having a strategy? Before you can practice as a lawyer, you have to have gone to law school. Before you can be practice as a medical doctor, you have to have gone to medical school. And all of that, professional professions like that, you have to have gotten proper professional training. Why is it different with being a politician? Why can't there be a law that says you have to be properly trained before you can bring yourself out as a politician? We know that everything rises and falls with leadership. No matter what you do, if leadership is bad, every other person down to the grassroots will not give you anything commendable. Why can't we take the pains and begin to train people? Even if you're not running for a political office, once you want to be a public servant, you should be properly trained. There should be some kind of school, on politics and good governance. There's one I know right now, but I'm not advertising for anybody. But why can't we think of that? And why can't we, the citizens who feel that we're very passionate about Nigeria, like I am, why can't we join those schools? There's a program that you're planning now on the citizenship. a lot of people would rather use that money and maybe go and drink than to pay and attend that school and get training and be better leaders. No matter what we do, if we keep doing the same thing, not training ourselves and strategizing so that we can face these people, because it's us against them. It's not tribe, it's not religion. It's just us against the bad guys. We have to strategize, just like they have been doing. Until we do that, nothing will ever change. We cannot wait for them. Now is the time. We begin today. And if we think we're going to wait for everybody to be maybe Christians or Muslims in the party we're going to join, we'll wait forever. You join with them. But by the time you're doing the right thing, by the time you're trained, by the time you're confident in what you're doing, you win the people over. If we're waiting for everybody to be on our side and be Christians or whatever, it will not happen. Let's go with them. Let's rough it out with them. But because we have superior knowledge, because we have strategy, we'll be able to win them over. So this is what I have to say. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Well, Essien, you are going to make yourself available to do everything that you have said. You are going to put yourself out there. You are going to stomp the streets. You are going to be part of this training. You are going to be part of looking for leaders and people who are going to do the work. You are going to really work.
I am already. I am.
Very good. So please, let's have your contact and your address, Jumoke. Please try and follow up with her. And let's see how we can make this thing work. Faye or Taji, you want to ask your question, or is it Owoyomi that's going to go now?
Yeah, I just want to make a brief comment. There's also someone here that wants to make a comment. Her name is Chinasa. I think for the youths that are part of the problem, in my opinion, hunger has been weaponized by these politicians already. So they are being used as pawns. Yeah, a hungry man, when you give them money, especially in this kind of election case, they will take it. But if there are jobs already created by our leaders, there's no need for them to want to, make quick money for themselves by being happy hands to corrupt politicians. So I just want to point that out. Sorry, Chinasa is yours.
Hello, good evening. My name is Chinasa Meche. I just want to contribute to what Dabira said. Two things. The youth, this is the first time in the history of Nigeria that the youth played their role. Somewhere, the margin of people that were used were not as the margin of people that stood up for what is right. And this is also the first time that the youth will change, they're beginning to change the narrative when it comes to rejecting, because I was also part of the process. And in the community where Dabira observed all these things, yes, we have that. We also experienced communities where youth stood up and turned down some of these politicians that enough is enough. Even when the NYC people tried to manipulate it by saying, oh, that the network was down, a lot of people brought out their internet stuff. A lot of people carried their generators. People brought their power bank and said, no, charge it up. The right thing must be done. So I think the youth also need to be congratulated because they did their part. Because this is even the first time that, a certain power is also shaking. And the youth are saying that their eyes, the eyes of the world is on the judiciary. So I think kudos to the youth as well. Because I remember also the answers when myself, Dabira that's speaking to, that is a guest today, we know the role we played, during the answers. Our life would have been taken. So I think while we talk about the bad ones, we should also congratulate the good ones that stood up. And I think the good ones, their margin are high, so that more we join them to do the right thing. And secondly, Pastor Itwa, when you turn 50, there was the man of God that gave you a prophecy that you are going to open an institution where people that will rule in this country must go through that institution, something like Lagos Business School, but on a leadership level. I think it's time, you set up that, Pastor, and carry it on so that everybody will not just see politics or position as a means of, rising and making others, not productive to themselves and to their country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chinasa. Comments noted. I don't know if Dabira wants to respond to any of those things, or if we go to the next person, Owoyomi.
Yes, sir, we can go to the next person.
Yomi, ask your question, and this will be the last question. And then Sonny and Jumoke can make their comments and we can close.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. It's a privilege to be here once again. Just make a brief contribution. Firstly, my observation is that last week we discussed ALG being partition. But the atmosphere discussed today, I think we are trying to tilt towards a political party. My observation, I don't know whether I'm right or I'm of the youth. Today, I don't think the youths are the problem of this nation or the other. We are guilty. There is this kind of orientation. I think people say, if you can't beat them, you join them. You see a good place, and at the end of the day, will be contaminated. That means someone told me that we're having a discussion, and the person said the number of the people that are waiting to steal are actually more than the number of the people that are stealing from this nation presently. It shows how bad. During the last election, so we not have a preferred candidate, and I may have, like, I've actually casted my vote. Because if you look at the three presidential candidates, initially something that brought them together. They have once been in the same political party. What happened was the clash of interest, and they all splitted and found a political party to join, and we are praising one above one. If you look at them very well, to me, they are politicians. So now trying to say someone is a saint or trying to paint somebody, I don't believe in that. Now my contribution is that until we all are ready to make Nigeria work, to me, Nigeria will not work. Because now, last week I made a contribution about girls having this kind of orientation that, okay, you have to do this before you get. Presently, I'm a core member and I know how bad it is. You see people talking about, and they will tell you, like, this is just listen to me, don't look at my character. That set of people are actually much. They will tell you this is what is right, but they themselves are not doing what is right. Until we are all ready to do what we feel is right and what is actually right, we cannot defeat any politician until we all are ready. And the last election, they are saying, okay, the only youth that they believe did the right thing was those that supported a particular party. No, I didn't believe that. And I still don't believe it, because they are all from the same, they will eat at the same table. It is the masses that will suffer it. So until the masses that are suffering are ready to take back what belongs to them, I don't think Nigeria will work. And it lies on the few, the elderly ones that are actually the saints and knows what is right, to train and reorientate, as has been said and contributed by everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dabira, do you have any comments there?
All that I can say.
Take that as you can also take your closing remarks from there.
All that I can say right now is that in the midst of every chaos or crisis, there's a point to an opportunity. When people are hungry, they tend to listen more, I think, probably. I think there's a pointer in the right direction in this season we are in for people to be made to realize that whatever decision you take in the space of 2 weeks, 1 week to election, or on the day of election, the results would not take 4 years before you start getting it. I also want to express something on the last, the person that spoke last. She said all of them belongs to one table and they have something in common before probably everybody went their pathways and all. I have seen good people too in politics in the recent time that I've been in politics. And when I speak to them, they'll tell me, Dabira, if you and myself and people of like minds like us can be part of this system, our numbers can outsmart the numbers of the people that wants to kill the system or cripple the system. And that is true. So that maybe a particular politician or a particular individual belongs to PDP before, and then now joined APC or now left for Labour Party or whatever party it is, moving from one place to another, literally, does not mean the person is like the other person. No, let's not get it wrong. So there are still good people, even in APC, that wants to do the right thing. But because they're not numberable enough, there are not many of them that can stand with him, it might be overwhelmed or be sank in, and it won't be able to perform as much as those. And you'll be wondering, before this person joined politics, it was nice now, and stuff like that. But because there was overwhelming pressure, and when there are 20 people in the room and you're speaking differently, and people will be wondering what is wrong with this one, the next meeting, they won't call you to it. That's the way it works with politics. So the person will also want to curb or curtail whatever it is he wants to say, so that he can be in the system to understand what is going on. So these people, most times, because see, if you are not in politics, if you don't get involved in politics now, don't try to want to run for a particular office. Go and get involved or get education on politics and understand the rudiments, the principles that works and how it works in politics. Because if you come in as a stranger, you'll be so that Pastor mentioned something and said, oh, we spoke to a lot of candidates and they were all standing their foot to say, oh no, I am going to run, I must win, I know I will win. And they know outrightly that they are not going to win. See, majority of those candidates were not outrightly running. They were even giving money to by some ruling class, some very wealthy politicians to go and hold the brief in different parties. They will ask them not to leave. Their portfolio is already prepared. What they will be paid is already prepared. So they won't leave. And then their living will amount to exchange of money. There has to be a monetary exchange. So that's why you will hear them, they will say, I will not step down. I'm going to win. Somebody is funding them somewhere. Somebody positioned them to disrupt the structure of the party. The same way they were positioned all across the parties. I was in a meeting where I saw even Labour people came to a meeting at midnight of where APC people, even PD people were there, and they were negotiating money. And tomorrow morning is election to sell out their own candidates. So it's not about because they belong to this particular party or not. If we have to change the status quo, or we have to take over from them, or we have to outnumber them, we have to start it now. We have to be educated about it, and we have to educate our own immediate families. See, the first religion I tell people is politics. First of all, adopt the religion of politics, because it has to do with humanity, your life, and what becomes of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dabira. You have spoken very well, and I must tell you that I am encouraged, and I wish that we'll get a few more people like you in our great country, Nigeria.
Thank you, sir.
Especially people of your generation. But that courage is still needed, and we need to gather a few more people together. So let's see what is going to happen. I don't know if Sonny is on the platform, if he has any comments, or if Jumoke has any comments or any announcements. Otherwise, we can call it a day here. It's been a very exciting period. We've had Dabira speak, and what I liked about her conversation was that it was very experiential and not theoretic. She's been there on the field, she has seen what she has seen, but what is also important is that she's not discouraged. She still feels that there is hope, and I sincerely do feel that there is hope, and that Nigeria, for me, is almost too big to fail and too great to waste. It's going to be okay by God's grace, and God will surprise all of us. Thank you very much. So,
Pastor Sonny is on, and we have a couple of announcements.
No, yeah, thank you very much. At this moment, I don't think I have anything to say. Just go ahead, Jimmy. Such a great session.
Thank you. So I just want the announcements we have. Someone had asked about the leadership school that was prophesied, and we have SOLAG, which is the School of Leadership and Governance at ALG, as part of ALG. And we are rolling out our first course, which is the Citizens Responsibility Course 101 at the end of July, and it's for free. This course is for free. We are encouraging everyone to please sign up for this CRC 101. And it really just focuses on the principles and core elements of citizenship and democracy, and what it includes, what our roles as citizens are, our responsibilities and our rights, and our attitudes also towards civic education, political literacy, and the concept of nation building. So Ms. Dabira had really challenged us that we all have a role to play in this. And I just also want to just point out leadership. I know we all keep looking for a group of people to be the one to lead us, but the definition of leadership, and this is not my definition, it's leadership is the ability of an individual or a group of people to influence and guide followers or members of an organization, society, or team. So we are all leaders in our respective sphere, and we need to take that on. We can't keep waiting for rulers, and I like the way Ms. Dabira qualified them. That vacuum of leadership is open because rulers have taken are occupying that space. So we need to begin to influence by being part of this conversation, by also spreading the gospel of change and reorientation. What we see is good. We must take leadership in that section and help spread it so that we can get that Nigeria of our dreams and the Nigeria that is possible. So that's my contribution. We have the forms in the chat room, forms to be a part of ALG, and the form to register for SOLAG, which CRC 101 is our first course in SOLAG. That, again, as I said, is free. It's at no charge to you. And upon completion, there will be, we'll issue a certificate. Faye, please go ahead and post the CRC 101 registration link again. Thank you. He's just done that. And if you could also post after that, the second form would be, and Pastor Sonny, maybe you can speak on this, on the survey that you originated for us to get citizens' opinion on the disbursement of the 500 billion Naira palliative. Thank you. Okay, so we also have a link to the survey in the group chat as well, and also a link to
out the options on the survey.
If I can speak on the options of the survey. There are a few options. We have the options on the survey, and I'm just pulling that up. This is citizens' response or opinion. So the option is 1, how should the federal government distribute to poor persons or families through an open, online, transparent process, subsidize commercial transportation, or buy and distribute new buses to state, invest the money in manufacturing or agriculture, invest the money in health or education, invest the money to rebuild communities ravaged by terrorism and resettle those in IDP camps, invest in modular refineries, thereby creating jobs, invest a portion of the palliatives to subsidize electricity tariff. So this is part of what ALG is doing, advocating for the voice of Nigerians to be heard. And we are going to send this letter to the presidency, publish it, and make sure it gets near where it needs to go, because this is our opinion. So this is part of us contributing to decisions that help us as Nigerians and also help build the nation. So please participate share it with your contact as well. By sharing it, you're actually taking leadership in change. So please we're looking for at least 1,000 signatures, and we would like to issue a position statement expressing your opinion as Nigerians to the powers that be. Thank you. The form again is in the chat. And lastly, if you want to get more information, we encourage you to be part of this every Thursday. So we would also post a link for you to complete an interest form where we would collect your email address, and if you want phone number, so that we can send you information on the weekly series. You will get the flyer and the notification every week by completing this form. So if you have that last form, I ask that you please put it in the chat, otherwise I can grab it. So those are all the announcements I have. If you just give me a minute, I'll grab the interest form and then I'll put it in the chat. And we would also just stand by for a few minutes for those that may be looking for additional information.
I've posted it on the chat already.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Please share the flyer as well for the CRC course. Really appreciate that. We're looking, and we'll be closing that shortly once we have our target number, and maybe before the end of the year, we'll have a second one. This is our first one, so it will be a good thing for you to be one of the first cohorts of Africa Leadership So Large School. So Mr. President has ended. I think Pastor Olu and I will just stand by for those of you that have questions about CRC, about ALG, and also about the survey. We'll spend a few minutes here with you. And I also put my contact number in the chat. Maybe you can put yours and Pastor Olu's in there as well. Okay, Edith would like to have you in the second cohort by God's grace, and we look forward to having you. Yes, Miss Susan, we can send it to your email. If you drop your email, we'll send that to you. We'll send you the information. Drop it in the chat for us, please. Okay, I got a couple of email addresses. Thank you. And you can also email us membership@africaleadershipgroup. Are we not .org? You put .com there. It's africaleadershipgroup.org. Maybe we are .com. Thank you for those of you that dropped your email. We'll definitely send you this information.
It's .org. I've corrected it. Thank you, ma.
Thank you. Good. Thank you for your response. We're looking forward to engaging you. Please make sure you copy the email addresses. We have quite a few in here. Thank you. You also please drop ALG's phone number in the chat group? Yes, Uncle Afolabi, I have your email address and you're already registered for the course. Thank you for that. Help spread the word. We want to get as many people in that class as possible. And ALG's phone number is in there. We're on WhatsApp, and we have a WhatsApp group as well. So. Kaye, any other announcements? Uncle Olu, do we have additional announcements that I may have missed?
No, I think we got all the announcements.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I think the announcement I would like to add is for each and every one of us on this call to be an ambassador of nation building by spreading the good news and inviting more people to join the ALG crusade. It's very important. Let's tell people about what we are doing. Let them be involved, let them be engaged so that they can also tell others and we populate this space. The more, the merrier. Thank you.
Uncle Olu, maybe we can stop recording and just wait in case people have questions. So we don't need to, we can stop the recording.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And just be here for questions or additional information.